r/AskMen. Unlikely Strategy 596 says, for men who have dated someone with mental illness, how did it turn out? Nolotus Note says, I dated a woman with BPD. It was the best and the worst relationship ever. But all I remember after the fact is the horrible parts. There were horrible parts and they were all too often. Looking back, I think all she had to do was be nice. She wasn't capable of that. Dakilazical_253 says, same. After that relationship blew up, I knew that being kind was the most important thing to look for in a partner. Self-imposter says, married an anxious anorexic. It wasn't enough for her to control her own body. I had to be careful of what I did/didn't do, said/didn't say. I was an idiot to attempt to accommodate. Got blamed for a lot of shit. Took a toll on my well-being. Leaving became the safest option for my own mental health. That really sucked. Square Vehicle says, worst experience of my life. Never date anyone with borderline or borderline symptoms. Tulpsychological 351 says, amen, brother. You walk in eggshells constantly. But even if you don't step on the eggshells, they'll still break, and then she'll gaslight you that it was your fault because you failed to read her mind. It never ends. Which is why my life got so much better immediately once I ended that relationship. The Mayan Viking says, anything in cluster B, really? Hajasso says, got stabbed in the arm. But the sex was awesome. W1987G says, worth it, famous last words. The Mayan Viking says, things like depression, anxiety, and OCD can be managed as long as the person is taking the steps. Unmanaged, those things can spiral. Cluster B personality disorders, borderline, antisocial, narcissistic, are wildly different. Their presence is a quality of life issue. They are damaging to most relationships. Altruistic_shame_487 says, she was bipolar. The sex was great, but then she decided she felt so good she didn't need her meds anymore, and there is no sex good enough to deal with that level of crazy. Butahinta 69420 says, she had BPD. She was great when she was in a good place mentally, but I never felt comfortable making long-term plans because of her mood swings. She would go from talking about marriage to wanting to break up every other month. Broshida says, it's been 10 years and it's going well. We've figured out a lot about ourselves and have a pretty strong bond. We both like our alone time, but also love doing our own thing together. I suffer with stuff a little more than she does, but we make it work. Honestly, it's the easiest and most loving relationship I've ever been in. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Warman Thesnow Storm says, my GF has BPD. I'm currently in front of her house in my car to pick her up at midnight because I got out of the shower at 20 missed calls from her saying she was going to kill herself because she assumed I was cheating. She was bawling her eyes out when I called her back and guilt tripped me into coming to get her. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I have to get up early in the morning. Hideous Membrane says, hasn't everyone got some kind of mental illness at this point? Danaba 285 says, mental illness comes in many shapes and sizes, you'll have to be a bit more specific. Just a Gua looking happy says, can we break that down into diagnosed vs undiagnosed? Black Panther X says, crazy good sex. Just not worth it. r/AskMen. No Medicine 7453 says, married men of Reddit, how long into the relationship did you get married and how's it going? Netrace says, We met in December, moved in together in February, and were married in March. We'll be married 18 years this March. Dolan says. 47 years and so far, so good. Emerald Jana says. We were together for about 10 years before I proposed. We've been married for 3, almost 4 years now. Going really well. Not a complaint in the world. We lived together for most of our relationship before we got married, so not a lot really changed for us after the wedding. Hicking Donald says. We got engaged on our 1-year dating anniversary and got married 4 months after that. Next week will be our 6th wedding anniversary. We now have a 1-year-old son. Life is great. We're in love and best friends. Drink the Bleach says. Got married on our 10-year anniversary. We both saw how bad divorces can be and really wanted to be sure. I got no complaints, feels like absolute bliss, and I'm lucky to wake up next to her every day. Trust your gut. If something feels bad, address it, and if it feels good, follow it. Driverman42 says. I moved into her neighborhood when we were kids. She's 3 years younger, but we hung out quite a bit. We dated off and on for 8 years. I was drafted and was gone 2 years. About a month after I was out, we got together, and a few months later, we were married, over 52 years ago. It's going very well. Lalas1988 says. We've been together for 5 years, living together for 4.5. Getting married in a month, GD willing. Wish me luck. Archblade7777 says. Married 3 years in, been together 12. We are very happy together. We communicate, resolve conflicts well, we date regularly, love to talk and spend time together, and we are raising 3 boys with a decent amount of success. She's finishing her RN degree, I'm about to publish my first book, and we are looking forward to our 10th anniversary in Reno next year. Only reason we had to wait was because at the time she was still influenced somewhat by her mother, who hated my guts, and to this day, wishes she hadn't waited as long. Captain Randy says. Engaged 3.5 months after meeting. Married 6 months later. 43 years and never a regret. Brutact says. We were friends since 12, got married at 23. Hopeful_ab_840 says. Started dating at 18. Proposed a little over a year later and got married at 21. Been married for 39 years. We have our ups and downs, but we are both happy. Only_touch says. Got married 8 months into the relationship. I was 34 and she was 31. We were both in a place to settle down and have dated around enough to know that we are very compatible ESP on the big things in life. Been married for about 3 years and it's great. Regomatic says. We got married 20 months after we met and celebrated our 31st anniversary a few months ago, so it's going quite well. Thank you very much for asking. Chef Dodge says. Proposed 6 months in, we married 3 months later. Been married 4 years now. It's been good. Acrobatic_scissors says. Dated for 18 months before getting married. Been married for 20 years now. Things are seriously awesome. I can confidently say she is the reason I love life. r/AskMen. RBHS says. How do you avoid feeling like your only purpose in life is to earn money to pay your rent and bills? Feeling this so much lately. How do others deal with it? Because I'm tapped. Dragon Mermaid 4 says. Find a purpose. If you're working to just live, then of course that's how you'd feel. If you find something to work towards, that all changes. Iron says. Just because you're forced to do something doesn't make it your purpose. Xathlete42 says, the last 15 years all I've done is service for others. I haven't done anything for myself for so long I can't even remember what I'm interested in. Green Chicken 789 says, get into working out and make more friends. KO says, once you pay your own bills your adult children are at the door with their unpaid bills. We are parents for life. Krazigai 332 says, it's not your purpose. Strictly speaking we are all only here to sire the next generation and pass on our genetics. The rest are merely enablers to that end. Onsiponathros says, life isn't that serious, figure out what is meaningful to you and pursue that, live your truth. If you feel directionless, refer back to the first point. Ecto 1981 says, you don't. Redwaka says, you join your local anarcho-communist organization and prepare for the revolution. The underscore sicko says, rent, bills, food, car, hobbies, alcohol. Pretty much in that priority. My hobbies are board games and photography. When I make more money, the hobbies and car will be getting more money. Herbert underscore Erpaderp says, you have to find or make your own purpose. Obviously that's easier said than done, but you can do it. D underscore Darksea says, you have one gift. Life itself and the time you have is your greatest investment. For what are you giving that time? It's obviously not fulfilling. I always imagined myself on my deathbed in the stories I have to tell about the life I led. Who are you? What do you want? Where are you going? And who is going with you? These are questions you're going to have to answer on your deathbed. Time is ticking and cannot be changed, so you will time out if you don't figure it out. I have made many life decisions with this in mind. I have left hundreds of thousands on the table because I value this more than anything else. It's my life's goal, literally. Matt Brian just says, spend time with your friends and loved ones. Thepandakhan says, for me right now, it is very difficult to find a good outlook. I work 7 days a week, otherwise without the extra overtime, I can't pay bills. I work the 7 days, have a few hours off each night, enough to prep my meal for the next day, and then it's time to sleep. I've lost all motivation for my hobbies, from miniature painting to even just playing a video game for a little bit. I've been getting my weight in check by spending 2 of my 4 free hours each day working out. I gotten into better shape. No, I'm just in decent shape with depression instead of fat with depression. I'm single, which is the only way this schedule would have worked. If I was in a relationship, I would have quit months ago. Now with the final quarter of the year bearing its ugly head, out of the 4 lab techs at my job, 3 of the techs will have vacation spread throughout the next 3 months, and it just happens to prevent me from putting in my vacation, since I'm the lab's flex schedule guy. I'm just stuck in the bottom of a well, with no way to climb out. Vmario says, try to find something you get excited for. Or set some goals worth working towards. Kindlespinach 7558 says, get some conch. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.